Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so very soon on Global, we are going to have this new Extreme Z battle event dropping, where you'll be able to EZA these 5 general pool female characters. Each one of them becomes pretty solid. Obviously they vary in how often you'll probably use them, just based around the categories that they're on and stuff, but they're all pretty solid, and they're general pool units, so you know they're easier to get, you know, always available in every banner. This is sort of like a typical 30 stage EZA in the sense that it's the 30 stages, you get 30 stones. You can't stun from stage 5 onwards, you can't attack lower from stage 15 onwards, and you can't seal from stage 20 onwards. But this is a multi-character EZA, so as you can see as we look down the list, you fight each of the characters that you're going to EZA for 6 of the stages, and then when you get to the end here, obviously if you choose to go any higher than stage 30, you will always be fighting Android 18. This one is supposed to be quite easy compared to some of the others, so if you're somebody who does often find yourself low on Zenny, this is going to be a good one for you to push past the stage 30. Obviously we know from seeing what's coming from JP and stuff like that, celebrations are coming with more and more EZAs now, so having a lot of Zenny on hand is always going to be useful. So one thing to bear in mind, of course, because there are multiple different characters that you fight, the typings change, so if you get to a specific stage and you start to find it a little bit tricky, you can always change out your team a little bit so that you're focusing more on type advantage for that stage, and then once it changes to the next character, just modify your team ever so slightly. So the weakness category is PEPPY GALS. This is a very big category now with a lot of options. So as always with my team building guides, I will be going through my top picks and my honourable mentions. If there's any units that you feel like I missed out on, or I should have talked more about a specific part of the kit of a unit that I did mention that makes them invaluable for this event, let us know down below in the comment section. I'm always happy to continue the discussion down there. So if you find this guide useful at all, do hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. There's been a few changes since this event came out on JP, like a few EZAs, some new heroes units and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and jump straight in. So the first unit I wanted to talk about is this Kawaii, or yeah, whatever, Kawaii from the Tournament of Power. She's going to be on that double rates banner. I am going to do a video about that, but I wouldn't really recommend summoning on it. But she is a PEPPY GALS leader, and she is really, really good. Like, she just does so many things. She reminds me of the launch unit, like, because she just does so many different things in her passive. Like, she greatly raises attack on her super, does supreme damage, greatly lowers attack and defense, and then she gives herself key. She's got solid attack and defense at the start of the turn, then she gets an additional 40% attack and defense when performing a super. She has a high chance to stun, she gets a medium chance of giving herself an extra 2 key, a medium chance of launching an additional super attack, a medium chance to dodge, and then she gets attacks effective against all types when performing a super if the target enemy is in attack down or they're sealed. So again, like with the effects, you can get this all the way up to like stage 20 basically. And then she performs a crit when performing a super if the target enemy is stunned. So that's not as useful because that's one of the first effects that gets cancelled out. But she's just ridiculous. She does a ton of stuff. And obviously all of these units pretty much have Battlefield Diva. So even if they don't share a lot of links, they're going to have a key link. There's obviously a lot of Shattering the Limit units on here as well. So yeah, she's definitely a solid pick if you do summon on that banner and you pull her, and she's a good like sub lead as well. So obviously the main leader for PEPPY GALS is Videl. She's the actual 170 leader, 4 key and 170 across the board. So obviously she is like hands down the best leader for the team. You obviously aren't going to have an ally whose name includes Gohan, Ultimate Gohan, or Great Saiyaman, so you're not going to be able to get her unit super attack. But I mean, really, you just want to use her for the leader skill if you do have her. It doesn't even matter if she's not super good for the event, just to make all of the rest of the team more powerful. But obviously she is a very powerful unit. Her best case scenario is if she takes a hit and dodges in slot 1. So ideally you do want like multiple attacks in slot 1 for her to be at her best. And then yeah, she will put out a ton of damage. She gets a guaranteed additional super in slot 1 and 2, so she can potentially put out a ton of damage. She has an active skill that you won't be able to use either without the Gohan. Well, actually, if we go back to PEPPY GALS, I didn't include her as a unit. They just got an EZA on JP, I believe. The Saiyaman 1 and 2. You can technically use them because the wording for her passive is it just has to include Great Saiyaman. Although it says Great Saiyaman other than Gohan excluded, so maybe it doesn't recognize that one. So either way, I would just use her as the leader for the leader skill. But yeah, next up we have the Int Ribrienne. Still a decent leader. She's got a 120 lead. She obviously transforms immediately on turn 1 into the Ribrienne. She's a support unit for PEPPY GALS, so even if you don't want to use her as the leader, she's pretty good to run on the team. It is kind of annoying that obviously she transforms on turn 1, so every time you use her, every single stage, all through the 30 stages, you have to watch her transform. And if you are bringing like double Ribrienne leads, then you're going to have to watch multiple of her transformations. But she is useful as a support unit. She also seals, which will be useful for those early stages. So she's a solid pick as well. And then, of course, if you're lacking any of those leaders, there is the free-to-play Ribrienne, who is now an EZA unit. Her leader skill is 99%. So her leader skill is honestly not that bad. And PEPPY GALS has a lot of like powerful options now. So even with the slightly lower leader skill, this EZA event will be doable. I wouldn't bring her on the team, though, if you don't have to. She's probably like a last resort leader. But then, of course, another option that we have is on Global, because these released out of schedule. The Tech, Kale, and Caulifla were not out on JP when this Extreme Z battle came out. And because of their leader skill, Bond of Friendship or Rapid Growth, you can just run a full Universe 6 Girls team. So all the PEPPY GALS units, all the Cauliflas, all the Kales under this leader skill. And then, yeah, you will sail through this Extreme Z battle if you just use this team, because obviously some of these units are very, very powerful, and this Extreme Z battle is just designed around being beaten by the PEPPY GALS team, which isn't exactly the most powerful team in the game, even though it does have a lot of powerful options. So if you can run them as the leader and find consistently the friends, even if you don't, all the units are going to be PEPPY GALS units, right? So you can run any PEPPY GALS friend. Even if they don't fit under Kale and Caulifla's leader skill, because the rest of the team will just do all the work for you. Because obviously we have LR, Kale, and Caulifla. Now, they don't get their, full potential in this event because you're not fighting any Universe Survival Saga or Pure Saiyans enemies, so they're not getting tons of guaranteed additional super attacks, but they're just a very strong unit. They raise defense on super, they're going to link up super well with all the other Kale and Caulifla units, so they're definitely worth considering, because a lot of those units are going to be very good, right? We have the AGL Caulifla. She has a built-in chance to dodge, she can counter super attacks, she raises defense on super, so obviously she's stronger after super attacking, but even in slot 1, she can get dodges. She also has attacks effective against all types when there's an ally whose name includes Kale on the same turn. So even when you get to the Tech 18 at the end, she's still going to be able to do decent damage. I could have listed every single Kale and Caulifla unit, and I didn't, because, I mean, almost all of them will be good on this team. So we'll mention them briefly at the end, I guess. But this Int Kale is definitely one of the top picks. After getting her EZA, obviously she's a very, very good support unit. She not only gives an extra buff when there's a Caulifla on the team, but she also... she gets a massive defensive buff when there's a Caulifla on the team. She then gives a bigger buff to all allies, including an extra crit chance if that Caulifla is on the same turn. So running her on a team where you have like a Caulifla on both rotations, you will obviously get the full effect out of her. She'll be providing a lot of support. Very, very powerful. So next up we have the physical Kefla. Obviously we got her EZA, so there's not really a huge amount we need to say about her. She's a nuking style unit that creates her own orbs. You just pick up a ton of orbs with her. She'll do big damage. She has a built-in chance to additional. She's a much older unit, finally getting her EZA, so like chances are you probably have her with dupes unless you're a newer player. So she's obviously going to be a very, very strong option for this as well. And as you can see, there's like a full Universe 6 build you can quite easily make. So moving on to some other non-Universe 6 Saiyan units though. We obviously have our Queen, the Android 21 with her EZA. Very, very good now. Obviously she recovers HP on super attack, which is really useful for EZAs because you can't heal. She's got very, very solid stats that are obviously better after supering. So she's not an ideal slot 1 unit, although she can still work, but you probably want her in slot 2 or 3. She also lowers the enemy's attack in the earlier stages where you can do that. And then obviously she does have the chance to transform from turn 4 onwards. You're probably not going to see the transformation that much because the Extreme Z battles are usually not particularly long. But if she does transform, she heals at the start of the turn, which means you'll get that heal immediately. Which will be nice if you are getting towards the end of that easy battle stage. Just top your health up a little bit, and then she lowers attack on super attack. Now, she is the only Peppy Gal's unit that has big bad bosses. I had a quick look through the list, and the only other one is the free-to-play Int 21. So, I mean, if you had both of them fully link leveled, then obviously Big Bad Bosses at level 10 gives a massive buff. That's going to make her even more powerful. But this unit, I'm really disappointed they didn't EZA her alongside the STR 16, 21 and the Tech 16, because, you know, that would have been really, really good for her. So I probably wouldn't recommend running her on this team. She is going to be buffing 21 as well, but she's just obviously very weak. Like, as you can see from her passive, she has no attack and defense other than her support passive. But even without Big Bad Bosses, 21 definitely going to be very good and potentially worth using on the team. Next up, we have the Darkness Toa. So she got an EZA with the Hero Celebration and became ridiculously good, especially if you're someone with a slightly weaker account, but you did do some summons on heroes. You managed to pull her. This thing where you drop below 30% or less HP, you get a full heal. Even if you don't have any extreme class allies on the team to get this stat buff, that full heal is going to be very good. But she is like crazy good after her EZA. She's actually got really good defense. She's not like a damage dealing unit, so you know she's not going to be spitting out tons of damage, but she's very, very useful for the team. And she does only buff extreme class allies, of course. So if you're not bringing any extreme units, she might not be as useful. But like I said, if you're finding the later stages a little bit more difficult, her heal can be worth bringing her even if she's not supporting the team. And then, of course, we have the Int Farsha from the free-to-play farmable Bardock squad. She's worth including because she has a built-in 50% chance to dodge. She lowers attack on super, which can be useful from those early stages. That's kind of it, really. She's just there to be, like, if you really don't have any good units to put in slot 1, she can, you know, get dodges if you get good luck with the RNG. She's not, like, a top pick by any stretch, but she can be very useful. And she's a free-to-play card, right? So everyone has the ability to get her. Next up, we have the STR Chi-Chi. Not the greatest unit on her own, but she gives Peppy Gal's allies 3 key and 120% defense. So on teams where you're rocking some of these like really powerful Kale and Cauliflas, including the LR, giving them an extra 120% defense is pretty ridiculous. Like, you imagine if she's in the 3rd slot and you have like physical Kefla on rotation. You pick up a ton of orbs, she's then getting an extra 120% defense. She's pretty much going to be untouchable, as well as dishing out very solid damage. So Chi-Chi, very, very good support unit in terms of defense. Then we have the Int Demon Goddess Toa. Again, she's a solid unit. She actually supports all allies, so she's worth using over the AGL one if you want a support unit. She does have a high chance to give an extra buff as well, and then she has a heal. The buff is only for extreme class allies, but she gives you a 50% heal when HP is 50% or less once only. So again, very useful in utility for getting a heal during the event. And then, of course, we got a new Demon Goddess during the Heroes event, the Demon Goddess Poutine, who is a really powerful free-to-play unit. She raises attack and defense on super. She has a chance to stun, but obviously you can't use that after the first couple of stages. But she does get pretty solid stats. She also gets a little bit of an extra buff per crossover category ally. So if you are using the other Toas, 21 is on crossover, so she can have very solid stats. If the enemy is stunned or sealed, which you can do, you can seal up to stage 20. She gets an extra attack buff. She also gives crossover allies a support passive as well. So she's really worth using on the team if you are going to use 21 and some of these Toa units. She can be very, very good. So definitely worth considering. And she's another free-to-play option. So obviously, looking back at the list, like I said, I didn't mention all the Kale and Cauliflas, but obviously Tech Caulifla, even though she doesn't have her guaranteed dodge, will have a very high dodge chance if you're building like a full Peppy Gal's team. Obviously the STR Kale along with her, like that rotation is always super powerful. The STR Caulifla who got her EZA alongside the Int Kale is also very good. Probably not as good as the AGL one, but remember in the Extreme Z battle you cannot use the same name update, so you can't just bring both of them. So I think the AGL one maybe is a little bit better. Having the super attack counter chance is obviously quite nice. And then some of the other units on here, not to say they're not usable, but they just don't make the honourable mentions list. But as I said at the beginning, if you're finding it pretty difficult, for example, against the AGL Mai, you could easily sub in units like this 18, the old free-to-play Bulma, Tech Buller for some support. She has a 60% chance to dodge on a Peppy Gal's team. So, like I say, every stage, it's very easy to just sub in some units that have type advantage. and make that particular stage a little bit easier. So let me know what you guys think. Like I said at the beginning, if there's any units you think I really should have focused on that I didn't, let me know down below, and let me know what your team build is going to look like for this event, and let me know if you plan to go past stage 30 to farm some of those extra Hercule statues. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.